Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward. Hey guys, Altcoin Sherpa here with a crypto market review. As always, this is not financial advice. I'm not an expert. Do your own research. Okay, so today I'll just go ahead and review some of these altcoins that are doing well. AXS, Compound, AAVE, Tomo, and maybe a few others. I don't know. We'll see. MATIC as well. Okay, so I'll do Compound and AAVE first. These are some DeFi coins that obviously pulled back quite a bit after the dump, and this is Compound USD on the daily. AAVE's chart looks very similar to this, where you saw like a big kind of almost V-shaped reversal at the end of June and going into early July. And both charts, I mean, I could pull up the other one too. I'll pull up the other one after, but the 200-day EMA is acting as support for now. What I would like to see is for price to form a higher low at this point, or somewhere around anywhere from the 380s to $400-ish area. You'll see that these swing lows often act as good SR levels, and you'll see that across like several different charts. Like for instance, like the swing low here, this acted as support again back in March. Swing low established in late February, tapped again in March, and then price blew up. But when you see these big wicks down, you'll generally see these areas as good SR levels. Another good example is this big move up initially back in February. Price could not close above that over several months before it had a big move up and then dump. But regardless, you'll see this swing low here established at 375-ish. I'm hoping that price will form some sort of higher low at this point. And you'll see it consolidate for a bit and then make another test up at this $530 level. That would be like the bullish case. The bearish case is obviously more likely, in my opinion, given the market structure. You'll see that this is still arguably like a lower high, and maybe we'll just see price dump lower to like the 300s. But I'm hopeful that price will kind of sit in this range overall between 380 to 525. That would be pretty bullish in my opinion if you see it kind of establish some sort of base and then move higher. And again, as I said before, the AAVE chart is also similar as well. Let me find that chart. It's very similar as the Compound chart. Again, the 200-day EMA, this red line, is acting as support for now. I actually marked this chart before back in late June, early July, thinking there were two scenarios. Number one, that it would break above this 285. This is kind of like a SR level. As you can see, price was holding here as support several times all throughout this year of 2020. And it continued to hold until it finally nuked through, broke. This was kind of like a 6K level, for instance, for Bitcoin back in 2018, and I'm sorry, 2017. No, 2018. And price nuked below. Price broke above this support level, this former support level, now resistance, and is now currently at this level at $300 or $290. Now, the bullish case, as I said, would be for price to chop around between this 290 and 530 level. And obviously that's quite a big range, but given the overall volume profile, there is a lot of volume traded between this range. And price seems to like this area overall. So the bullish case, of course, would be to hold above this 290 area and just range and chop between 290 and 530 for a while. That would be an okay scenario. And the probably more likely scenario is that this is just another lower high and price will go below and break back into the $150 to $200 area. Now, if it does break in this area, I would expect to see some sort of long-term ranging and consolidation before another potential move. But we might see it still maintain this current level. Let's look at MATIC USD. MATIC is obviously a very popular coin. And MATIC right now, in my opinion, doesn't look very good. This chart is a little cleaner on the 12-hour. You could see this area around 167 was resistance, but price never made it up to that point. I'll briefly actually go to the 1 day, because I believe that the 1 day, 200-day EMA around 75 cents, this would be an interesting buy area. There's a few reasons for that. Number one, the swing low here around 75 cents is, as I said before, going to be a very interesting pivot point, similar to that past chart in compound, where you see big swing highs and swing lows established as good support levels. And it's also confluent with this 200-day EMA, as well as a high volume node right here around 75 cents. So to me, it seems very likely that this kind of 83 cents to 73 cent area, this would be a pretty solid buy area for MATIC, and that's kind of the target that I'm viewing. Of course, this is still a good project, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with regards to other layer 2s coming out, and how that affects the MATIC network. But to me, I would just go ahead and wait and set buys at 80 cents or so, and kind of go from there. But for now, it's just a bullish market structure. I mean, it was consolidating quite a bit between this $1 and 120 area, but it looks like price solidly fell below that area now. So I think that we can now look for the 75 cents mark for MATIC as an entry. And to me, this would be a pretty solid first entry. Let's look at AXS. This is obviously the strongest coin right now. Absolutely insane moves the last several weeks. I mean, it went, what, $2 to 20 or so. Anyways, yeah, it's absolutely insane. I use the fib extensions here, and when you're drawing fib extensions, you'll want to just like find like a decent sized dip, which happened back in July 7th. Decent dip, relatively speaking, in the market context, and that's how I found these fib extensions. And you can see these fib extensions were, for the most part, pretty good. The 168 level was resistance for quite some time, around 1863, and price now broke above it, and now it's currently at this 2.41 level fib extension as resistance at 22. To me, 23 would be a more significant level. The 618 is usually a pretty good level, in my opinion, to watch. I do believe that this will stall out eventually, but as for now, shorting stuff like this is extremely, extremely dangerous. I would not short this type of asset until it starts coming down. And even then, it's very scary, because sometimes it'll just go to the 382 fib and then it'll bounce strongly, which is what it did earlier. And these types of coins are just very unpredictable when they are parabolic. Like, don't be a hero. If you must short something that's related to it, but not the actual asset. For instance, like, as I always say, many coins have many relationships with each other. So AXS is obviously leading the NFT sector right now. So you'll see similar coins such as Alice or TVK or Sand or Mana. Those other coins are doing pretty well in regards to the market, just because AXS is very strong. So if you insist on shorting something like AXS, I would advise against it, but instead short something that's related to it, such as TBK or Sand or Mana or any one of those other NFT coins that are just not as strong. You never really want to short the leader that's leading. This will eventually be a great short, but you will really want to see a change in market behavior, just like when it starts to dump. But for now, I'm just using these fib extensions. To me, the 23.21 area is the next level up, and then of course $25, a significant psychological number, as well as the 3 fib extension. So those are kind of my targets for AXS. When it starts to dump stronger, you'll see some sort of pattern like this where it starts to stall out, where it goes up and then it'll start to distribute, and you'll see a lot of volatility, and you'll see it just consolidate over the course of probably a few days or something like this. And you'll see that there's going to be a lot more sell volume coming up, and you'll see strong buy volume too, but not much of a price move, which usually means that sellers are getting their orders filled. So as I said, this area and this coin will be very good. It'll be a good short eventually, but just kind of like the safer short, in my opinion, is to wait until it starts coming down, make some sort of bearish retest, and then come on down a little farther. That's personally the trade that I'm waiting for. I'm looking just to buy the dip on this, but for now, it's still very strong. Let's also look at Tomo. Tomo is a coin that is very strong as well. And this is a coin that I marked before as well, where you'll see this kind of breaking market structure where price is just making higher highs and higher lows. And overall, it's just like very strong, especially on smaller time frame charts. You'll see that before on the move all throughout May, and yeah, pretty much just all throughout May, you'll see like lower highs and lower lows, which resulted in price just nuking, as the entire altcoin market did in late May, followed by this sort of accumulation pattern where price ran up to the range highs around 190, dipped down to the range lows around 125, and after that point, we saw price hit this bullish market structure where we saw a higher high and higher low printed, and it's just very clean in my opinion. It's just very, you can see that all the dips are getting bought up. You can see all the market structure is still maintained, and this is still just going higher. Now, when you look at market structure breaks, they obviously happen on lower time frames first. And if you want to start to look for some sort of reversal, it looks like price is kind of pulling back a little bit here around like the 240 area, 250 area. What you'll want to see is just a continuation of the trend. But to me, it seems likely that price will just continue up, and then around the 290 area, this should be a pretty big supply zone in my opinion. Like I expect price to kind of hit this area and then hit some sort of double top type of pattern where you'll see price starting to pull back. But the fact that this is done so well given the market conditions is very impressive to me. For now, you'll still see it's slightly pulling back now, but I mean, all dips are getting bought for Tomo. Would I buy now? I mean, personally, I'm not, because I'm just going to be patient. I do have some exposure to Alice, which is another NFT coin. I'll go ahead and review that one really quickly. But overall, I'm just kind of chilling out and not really super active. Alice is another coin that looks really interesting to me. You can see this resistance area at 755 being tapped over and over again. And you can see its resistance back right here. All throughout the late May, early June area, where price is kind of just hitting resistance over and over, and price broke down all the way down to 3. And now price is now knocking on the door of this resistance area. Now, as long as AXS does pretty well, I feel pretty confident that this will break up to the $10 area. To me, like if you look at the volume profile, like there's really not much volume traded in between 7 to 8, or I'm sorry, 7 to 10. So to me, it would make sense that this like kind of grinds up and fills out this area and goes up to 10 and then pulls back. So if you are in this, there's a few different trades you can take. Number one, you can wait for a break of 750 and then buy the dip and then go up, target $10. Or another trade you could potentially take too is shorting this current area, but I would caution against it given how strong the AXS looks, and given that this area is just hanging around resistance, which is usually pretty bullish in my experience when it just kind of hangs around, and it's making higher lows too. That's something also to note as well. So when you start to see these kind of higher lows being established, you'll see that price is just eating away those sellers. So I do believe that this will break, but just keep an eye on it. I mean, it's going to really depend on other market conditions as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this review on altcoins, and good luck.